NBA fans, Dom2K on the mic, and I guess we can finally call this a series now, considering this is episode 2. About a year ago, I started this series called Case for GOAT, where I lay out a player's case to be called the greatest player of all time. I did Kareem's, I planned to do the others, but I'm not even gonna lie, that line at Walmart was long as shit, my bad. But I'm back now so we can finish this. As you might imagine, this series is almost exclusively made for retired players, so you're never gonna get a chance to see these guys play live, but there is gonna be one player on here you can still see using the SeatGeek app. SeatGeek pulls tickets from all over the web and has them in one place to make purchasing one for your event really easy, and it also assures you'll be getting the best value for your ticket. While searching for your tickets, each one is ranked with a score from 1 to 100 that lets you know if you're getting a good deal or not for your purchase. On top of that, the app also provides you with a detailed view of what you would see from your seat before you even get there, which is extremely helpful. If you're interested in downloading this app, the link is going to be in both the comment section and in the description. So, Earvin Magic Johnson. I chose to bring this series back by doing his first because honestly, he's got an extremely underrated case. Yes, he's almost unanimously the greatest point guard of all time, we all know that, but when you hear people talk about the greatest player, you almost never hear his name come up. Whether you've thought about it or not, today I'm going to show you why although he may never be considered the greatest player by the masses, he definitely has a case, and that's what this series is all about. And while we're on that, for those of you who didn't know, this is the series where I review a player's high school, college if applicable, and professional career to show you why they could be called the greatest player of all time. Could is the operative word there because I'm well aware there's only one GOAT, but a lot of these guys have very strong cases, including Magic, so let's jump right into it. Magic Johnson was born and raised in Lansing, Michigan. He loved basketball from a young age, spent an insane amount of time practicing even in the morning before school, and ironically, for reasons you'll find out later, Bill Russell was the player he idolized. Basketball came as a natural love for him considering his dad played high school ball in Mississippi and his mom played as a child while also watching her brothers play, so he had a good base from which to learn the game. As early as the 8th grade, it was pretty predictable that he was going to be great considering he'd already had a 48-point game, so he took his talents to high school ready to pave his way in the sport. His high school career started at Everett High where he'd officially earned the nickname Magic. I probably don't need to say this, but if you're new to basketball or you're just super young, Magic is not his real name, it's Earvin. You gotta earn a name like Magic. Well, that's exactly what he did, because in his sophomore year at just age 15, he recorded a triple-double with 36 points, 18 rebounds, and 16 assists. That's no regular stat line for a kid, and rightfully so. After that game, sports writer Fred Stabley Jr. gave him the nickname Magic Johnson. With the special talent that he was, it wouldn't be hard to live up to that. In his final season with Everett, Magic put up 29 points and 17 rebounds a game. And as with all of these legends, his high school team was damn near unbeatable as he led them to a 27-1 record and a state championship. With that, his high school career concluded with 2 All-State selections, a state championship, a selection to the McDonald's American Game in '77, and was obviously considered the greatest high school player to ever come out of Michigan. For college, he didn't want to get too far away from his family, so his choices came down to Michigan and Michigan State, although he could have chosen much bigger schools. Being that Michigan State had a lot of talent on the roster and that the coach was going to let him play point guard, he chose to continue his career there, but there's a funny story about that. Magic took up communication studies as his major because initially he wanted to be a commentator. Could you imagine the hole that would have been left in NBA history had he had taken up those aspirations instead? Luckily for us and him, he continued to excel in college ball, averaging 17 points, 8 rebounds, and 7.5 assists in his freshman year. This combined with the fact that there were about 3 other future NBA players on that roster led the Spartans to a record of 25-5 that season. They won a Big Ten Conference title and were able to qualify for the '78 NCAA tournament. Unfortunately, Magic's streak of invincibility would be temporarily disrupted as they were knocked out of the tournament by the eventual champion Kentucky Wildcats. He played particularly bad that game with only 6 points and 6 turnovers while shooting 2 for 10. But as with most legends, that failure was just a setup for a major comeback and one of the most memorable moments in college basketball history. He would return for a second season at Michigan State and his stats were basically identical. They went 26-6, but this time they made it to the championship game where they'd face Indiana State. Might not sound like much, but it was actually kind of important considering Larry Bird was on the team and he was keeping pace with Magic for one of the country's best players. This was an epic clash that became the most watched college basketball game of all time, and this really helps Magic's case for GOAT because unlike the year before, he showed up big time. He played a beautiful game on the biggest stage he'd ever been on up to that point, posting 24 points, 5 assists, and 7 rebounds while shooting 8 for 15. Larry Bird, on the other hand, was struggling to hit shots he usually made, and it's not that he played terrible, but he just wasn't himself. He posted 19 points, 13 boards, and 5 steals while shooting only 7 of 21, and this combined with the 6 turnovers he had contributed to their 9-point loss. Although it was just a college game, this is impressive for Magic to have on his resume, especially considering what happens in the Celtics and Lakers rivalry. It was the first true game in the Magic and Larry rivalry, and he knocked it out of the park. He was awarded with the most outstanding player of the Final Four, named to the 79 All-American team, and had won the NCAA championship to top it all off. With the career stat line of 17, 8, and 8 to go with these accomplishments, he'd done pretty much all he could do at that level, and it was time to move on to the pros as he declared for the 79 NBA draft. Thank God Magic didn't go along with his original plans to just be a TV commentator, right? Everything about him ending up in the NBA just seemed like fate. Take for instance how he ended up on the Lakers. A few years earlier, the Jazz and Lakers did a deal for Gail Goodrich in which the Lakers received this pick for the 79 draft, meaning Magic would play his career out in a Lakers uniform instead of a Jazz. That in itself looks like fate considering LA was such a huge market, perfect for what was about to quickly become one of the greatest players ever. And another amazing twist of fate, the Lakers already had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, who was an 8-time All-Star, and Magic would prove to be more than enough for what they were missing. Standing at 6'9", Magic became the tallest point guard in NBA history, a good 4 inches taller than Oscar Robertson, who was already considered a big point guard. This automatically gave him an advantage and caused other teams to rework the defensive matchup in hopes of stopping him. But as Magic would go on to prove in just his first season, well, there really was no stopping him. He would put up 18 points, 8 rebounds, 7 assists, 2.5 steals, and shoot 53% in just his first season. That means he was already flirting with a triple-double. This earned him a spot on the All-Rookie team and led him to become one of the few rookies to be selected as a starter to the All-Star game, which actually hadn't happened in the league in over a decade. The year before Magic was drafted, the Lakers went 45-37 and were eliminated in the second round as a 5th seed. In his rookie season, he'd already transformed them into a 60-22 team that would rank first in the West while making the NBA Finals. In case you were wondering, no rookie has led their team to an NBA Finals since Magic did it almost 40 years ago, but that's far from the best thing about that feat. Just like he done in the college championship game, Magic became even more deadly on the bigger stages, averaging 22 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists, and 3 steals while shooting almost 60%. That's unheard of for a rookie, but it's still not the greatest thing he did there. With a 3-2 lead against Philadelphia, Kareem, who was averaging 33 points a game, sprained his ankle and would have to sit out for Game 6. A team losing their leading scorer would normally have the door wide open for a comeback. That is, unless Magic Johnson is your point guard. Or center? Yeah, Magic, who had been playing the point guard the whole season, started in Kareem's place at the center position. When's the last time you've heard of a rookie point guard filling in for the superstar big man? Mind you that this is a while before small ball got popular. With that challenge, and with Game 6 being on the road, Magic went on to play his greatest game ever in just his first season, scoring 42 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists, and 3 steals while shooting 61% and playing 47 minutes. That's actually in contention for the greatest game ever played by any player, and it's a huge boost to his case for GOAT. What other player in history could have done anything like that in just their rookie season? The answer is nobody. Nobody else has, and it's very likely nobody else ever will. Obviously, that performance led him to become the only rookie in NBA history to win Finals MVP, and he also became one of only 4 players to win an NCAA championship and an NBA championship in consecutive years. Magic only played 37 games in his sophomore season due to a knee injury, so there's not much to say there, but he returned with vengeance in the 82 season. He would go on to lead the league in steals and up his rebounding and assist averages to 9.5 and 9.6, which put him right on the edge of averaging a triple-double. The impressive part about this was that he did it while being somewhat of a villain, because common opinion at the time was that he'd gotten his coach Paul Westhead fired after demanding to be traded when he changed his style of play up. The coach got fired the next day because nobody was dumb enough to trade Magic, and Westhead was on his way out anyways, but this still caused Magic to get booed everywhere he went. He still dominated, still made the All-NBA second team, and joined Oscar Robertson and Wilt Chamberlain as the only players to post 700 points, rebounds, and assists in a season at the time. The Lakers again ran into Philadelphia in the finals and again beat them in 6 games as Magic posted another triple-double in a closeout game to win his second championship and Finals MVP in just 3 seasons in the league. Moving right along to his 4th season, he again led the Lakers to the finals against the Sixers, but with so many injured teammates and the addition of Moses Malone to Philadelphia, he finally lost his first finals in a sweep, which wasn't that big of a deal considering this was his 4th year and he'd already played in 3 finals. Next came the Lakers and Celtics saga, and this is super important in his case considering the rivalry's place in NBA history. First, Johnson was finally unleashed because the Lakers traded Norm Nixon, which meant he was no longer sharing the point guard duties with anybody. With that burden lifted, he went on to average a double-double of 18 points and 13 assists while leading the Lakers to their third straight finals. This time, fate had finally called as Larry Bird managed to get the Celtics to the big stage, allowing them to relive their rivalry that started in the NCAA championship game. Unfortunately, this series served as a missed opportunity to add a huge boost to Magic's case. While it's true his stats were amazing for the series and the games were close, the Lakers wound up losing in 7 because of multiple, simple errors for Magic that actually earned him the nickname Tragic Johnson. First, in Game 2, he had a moment like in 2K when your controller dies because with the chance to win the game, he totally lost track of time and didn't even get a shot off. In Game 4, he made multiple errors including having the ball stolen by Robert Parrish and missing 2 free throws that could have won the game and put the Lakers up 3-1. In Game 7, with the Lakers trailing by 3 points, he had the ball stolen by Dennis Johnson, which basically lost him the game and the series. With that, the loss of this series fell almost squarely on Magic's shoulders, and it meant even more that it was his first professional opportunity to beat Larry Bird on the biggest stage. It was a dark time for him, but just like when he faced a knee injury, allegations of being a coach killer, and the loss against Kentucky, he used it to fuel him to more success. He averaged a double-double for his third straight season and led the Lakers to yet another finals, meaning he'd been there 4 times in 5 seasons, also making it his 4th year in a row. Making up for his terrible performance the year before, this time they beat the Celtics as Magic would put up 18, 14, and 7, allowing him to tie the record in his rivalry versus Larry. As explained in my Rockets video from a few weeks ago, the Lakers would fail to make the finals in '86, which was pretty fortunate considering that this was the best Boston team out of the whole '80s, but they quickly make it back in '87 to play them one more time in the tiebreaker. This was crucial because, unfortunately, Boston was breaking down. Bird had a bad back, McHale had a bad foot, and it was really the last hurrah for that group, so the Lakers smelled blood and took full advantage. It's also important to note here that upon Pat Riley's request, Magic took on more of a scoring role that season and officially became the captain of the Lakers. Kareem was pushing 40 years old, and it was time to ease the pressure, so Magic upped the scoring average at will to 24 points a game, proving that he was a pass-first point guard who could be an elite scorer anytime he felt like it. This effort led to him winning his first MVP award, and he took that momentum straight into the series against Boston. He upped the scoring average even further in this series to 26 points, while also posting 13 assists and 8 rebounds a game. The signature moment of that finals came in Game 4 when he hit the junior skyhook over Boston's defense to win it in the Garden. It was a crucial win that put them up 3-1 and ultimately led to them winning in 6 while he picked up his 3rd finals MVP. This adds heavily to his case because although nobody knew it at the time, it ended the Celtics and Lakers rivalry for 20 years and it meant that he bested Bird in their rivalry 2-1. That matters because it's one of the most intense affairs in sports history, and it's pretty comparable to Bill Russell being able to say that he almost always beat Wilt Chamberlain. But unfortunately, this is where we begin to wrap up Magic's case for GOAT, and if it seems premature, that's because it is. The '88 season saw another huge boost to his case as he had another consistent stat line and took the Lakers to yet another NBA Finals. With the Celtics having been dethroned by the Pistons in the East, that was a new challenger, but they too would fall in 7 games as Magic averaged 21 points and 13 assists, causing the Lakers to be the first team to repeat in the finals since Boston had done it in the 60s. Even with that, he wouldn't pick up Finals MVP because it was James Worthy with the crucial Game 7 performance, but it did result in his 5th championship. He would go on to make 2 more finals that both resulted in losses and pick up 2 more MVPs to make it a total of 3. He was still going on strong when he made the finals in 1991 without Kareem, but tragically, as we all know, that was the last season of his prime at the young age of just 31 due to his HIV case. He had the amazing moment in the All-Star game, then played 1 more season when he was 36, but there was just no more Magic. If you're young and don't understand how significant that was, imagine LeBron James announcing his retirement today because of an illness. That's how impactful Magic's announcement of retirement was. We're talking about a guy who was only 31 years old and probably considered by some to have been the best player in history at the time, abruptly leaving because of what was an epidemic. But to be honest, this is probably the most important part to Magic Johnson's case for GOAT. In just 12 seasons of play before the HIV, he had won 5 titles, 3 MVPs, 3 Finals MVPs, made the finals 9 times and once without Kareem, made 10 All-NBA first teams with 11 selections overall, made 12 All-Star games including the HIV selection, only missing it once in his prime due to injury, and piloted the Lakers Showtime offense that dominated an entire decade. Oh, and after the HIV announcement, he took part in the Dream Team that brought home the gold. To further put his 12-year run into perspective, let's look at his all-time list rankings in that short amount of time. He posted 138 triple-doubles, which is still the second most in league history, almost averaging one multiple times, and he made it to 5th on the all-time assist leaders when he still had like 6 to 8 seasons left. Is it fair to assume he'd be leading both of those lists had he played the rest of his career? His career averages came out to 20 points, 11 assists, 7 rebounds, and 2 steals. Just to put his rebounding and steals into perspective, LeBron James is about to have a full 3-season lead on Magic's prime and still only narrowly edges him in those categories. And now to run off his eye-popping accomplishments. He's one of only 6 players to record a triple-double in a finals clinching game, which he did twice, one of 3 players to record a triple-double in his playoff debut. He led the league in assists 4 times and in steals twice, and in the 1991 NBA playoffs when he was about 31 to 32 years old, he led the league in minutes played, 3-pointers made, defensive rebounds, and assists. To be honest, as his name Magic implies, I could probably find a million crazy stats to throw at you to prove he's got an excellent case for GOAT, but I think the job is done here. I've told you what he did and how he did it, but if there's one thing I want you to remember from this video, it's how much he did in such a short amount of time. The Lakers never won less than 54 games even that year where he hurt his knee, and his dominance was getting ready to stretch well into the 90s when you consider that the West really didn't have just one team that took over during that decade. At the beginning of this video, I talked about how Magic is never really brought up when you talk about the greatest player of all time, and that's largely because he's missing about 6 seasons from his resume with that HIV. That's 6 more seasons of points, rebounds, and assists, and probably some more finals when you consider that the Lakers were probably going to get him help. If he did that much in 12 prime seasons, what do you think the rest would have added? Unfortunately, we'll never know, but at least you now know why Magic has a case for the greatest of all time. And finally, after about a year and a half, that concludes the second episode to this Case for GOAT series. So far we've done Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Magic Johnson, so feel free to guess who you think the rest of the players are. Make sure to leave a like, comment, and sub if you enjoyed, and hit the bell next to my name if you want notifications on future videos. Also sub to my second channel. I'm doing a lot of fun gaming stuff over there, including 2K, so I think a lot of you would like it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.